Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being on time. You're actually early, so we're all standing with our cups of tea and coffee, thinking, oh, I wonder if they're going to be late, but they weren't. We saw the coaches. Really good news. Welcome to Yaverland Sailing and Boating Club. We've decided that this will be the location for the windsurfing and the sailing for next year, for the simple reason that where you were last night in Cowes, the tides run very, very strong indeed, and there's a number of sandbanks and rock ledges on the north side of the island which make it really challenging sailing conditions, which is why Cowes is such a popular sailing place. That's mainly for the much larger boats, the 30, 40 foot boats.
Doing that on purpose?
No, it's just a busy day. Lips are moving, nothing's happening. So back in 2006, when I got asked to do this, I got together all the previous Isle of Wight teams and the managers and some international laser sailors. We had a meeting and said, if we're going to host these games, where would you say is the best place? And they all said, here. And the reason being is that's relatively shallow, up to 10 metres, no deeper. And the tide between the 2 points, the two ends of the bay, is very, very weak. It's no more than a knot, which around the English Channel is very slow, believe me. So you've got an even bottom, it's sandy, very little tide, it more or less goes in the same direction all day long. So you're all on a very even playing field here. Whereas if you've gone to the Solent, where you were last night, where all the sailing on the island seems to happen, you would have been encountering very strong tides. You can see all the commercial shipping, the sheer activity there is there, and that will give an enormous advantage to local sailors, and that isn't seen to be fair. So your fellow sailors made the decision to decide to come here. Now this club, as you can see, is mainly a motor boating club with some catamarans. Don't let you think that that means that they're not into dinghy sailing. They are, and what we've done, made the arrangements, is that all the highly experienced race officers in dinghies from Cowes will come over here to run the racing. So the people I've got are the people who run Cowes Week in dinghies. That's up to 200 dinghies in 12 classes. They're very experienced laser sailors themselves. They fully understand your needs and your requirements. We will do our best to offer you races of 50 minutes, as we're supposed to. We think we can do that quite easily. Steve, my colleague, will be running the safety boats and everything on the water to support you. And again, his experience is running all that big time in Cowes. So that expertise is actually coming over to here, and then this club is going to offer you its hospitality and its organisation on the shore. They're an entirely volunteer club, a very typical British club, and they will do all the food for you, parties in the evening, bar, and the food will be available every night. We hope to organise a welcome party for you. Wait for the traffic to go. On the front for the windsurfer coordinator can't be here today, I'm afraid. But what he has said to me is right here in front of the building is where your course will be for windsurfing. So you literally walk down, launch, there you are, come back, fantastic. So that means we've then got the rest of the bay for the sailing. Okay, so wherever the wind's coming from, wherever the local people tell us the best conditions are, that's where we'll go and take you for your sailing. The race officer is experienced enough to know what suits you. He likes his dinghy sailing himself, and he will do what he can to ensure you have an enjoyable time. I don't really need to say too much. The club has refurbished the ladies' changing rooms last year. They're in the process of refurbishing the gentlemen's this year, and they're in the process of just generally sprucing the club up so it will look quite smart. We'll offer you for meals simple things like filled baguettes, pastas. If it's a cold, wet, windy day, you'll have hot soup and French bread. Then in the afternoon, typical English homemade cakes, teas and coffees, and they'll reopen again in the evening for you, probably barbecues, cooked meals, and you'll be welcome to come down at any time. I don't know if there's much more you need to know. We are meeting with Laser on the 8th of July to discuss purchasing new boats for the event. The boats will almost certainly be based on that bit of green there, so you won't need to walk very far. We're likely to have a container to store everything overnight, not the hulls, but all the spars and sails. Everything's locked away, quite safe. There's going to be security here, so we don't need to worry too much about that. And I hope that your accommodation will not be too far away. I think there is a plan to put you at the top of the hill, the holiday park, for sailing and windsurfing together. I think that's the plan, but plans change as we discover. I'd just like you to come along and enjoy it and get the most out of it. Yes.
Windsurfing question.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, have you made a choice of board yet?
You'll need to speak direct to Alan about that. He's making all the deals at the moment.
When, do you have any idea when that decision might be made?
I don't know. I was hoping he would be here, but in fact he
We need
hasn't.
the decision as soon as possible.
Yeah. If you are in contact by email with Alan, I would ring him or speak to him very soon. So if you have your mobiles with you, I can give you a number for him and speak to him today.
If you can find out, give it to David before tomorrow.
Yes,
So I'll
before
be at the
tomorrow.
meeting tomorrow. That would be really
Okay,
useful.
right.
Because it's a big question. All
I'll
of
ring him as
us.
soon as I've finished with you.
Yeah.
What about drying facilities for suits and things? Because if you're staying in caravan parks, I don't think you're going to be able to rinse them off and dry them there.
No, that's very true. There's a lot of space here. That walled area behind the club, they're talking about having a very big marquee that covers the whole area. You could string rope and they could just drip overnight. The usual thing you do anyway, really. If you are in a holiday park, and again you've got lots of poles there to string, then dry it up there as well. So it is something we will ask the judges. Bearing in mind the numbers. They are used
So many.
40 boats, they are used to running weekends in catamarans or 30 boats. It's the right sort of numbers. They're well used. I'll ask them to think about that.
The usual wind.
The wind,
Yeah, the
this is
usual.
England on the sea. Some days there's lots, some days there's none, but there is nearly always sea breezes. So if the weather is good and there is no wind in the morning, there will be a very good sea breeze in the afternoon. Yesterday was a good example. Up until about lunchtime, very, very flat. And from about 1 o'clock to about 7 o'clock, good force 3, all the time, consistent, really, really nice. So it is entirely dependent on this weather. If we've got a front coming through from the Atlantic, there'll be plenty of wind. It just won't stop. But if it's beautiful weather like this, you will be reliant on sea breezes. And I think if you were to come back in the middle of the afternoon, you will probably see quite a good breeze. It may be a bit of a wait. You may be looking at after lunch before starting the sailing, possibly sailing a bit later. But we can't do much about the weather. We will try. But I will speak to Alan in a minute and ask him to let me
Just ask David.
know what decision has been made. And you actually want to know specifically the board.
Well,
Board
the
and
issue
rig.
The issue between sailing and windsurfing is that we've used laser dinghies for years.
Yes.
So all our sailors know what to expect
Yes.
at every game.
Yes.
It's been consistent.
Yes.
The windsurf board has changed every game. So
Yeah.
we hosted the games in Shetland a few years ago. We had a choice of board that was different from Rhodes and was different from Oldham, so it'd be good to know what you absolutely are getting.
Okay.
I expect they'll come back to the local councils and clubs and ask for money to buy a couple of boats to test.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay.
Maybe find out as soon as you can, that'd really
Yeah,
helpful.
I'll ring him in a minute.
Because we don't do much sailing over the winter, so they've really got to do something this summer to get some practice in for next season. So,
No, that's fair to me. Yeah. And I'll ask him to email all of you then with that decision. That would be fair. Is there anything else anybody wants to know? Needs to know?
The boats. Are they new?